Hi friends, I'm back. I took a little bit of a break. I want to talk to you today a little bit about how a creative mind can be a bit of a curse. And this is kind of from personal experience how my mind works. Because when you're creative, you see potential in everything. So the problem that happens with that is since you see potential in everything, sometimes what some people would consider to be, oh, that's garbage, we'll just throw that away, you can see it as a project. So, because of that, people like me tend to gather too much stuff with the thought of someday I'm going to make something out of this. And sometimes you do. And sometimes it just kind of flies around your house from place to place because you don't really know what to do with it. So people like me can tend to be or to have a bit of hoarding tendencies. Okay. Now, I have several things that I collect. I love costume jewelry. I have a lot of it. And that's going to be an upcoming video of how I store that because I also like things organized. It drives me crazy when I have things just laying around all over the place. But that happens a lot because, like I said, I see potential in things that a lot of people would consider garbage. And I'm going to just show you a few examples of some of the things that I tend to gather. Now, eventually, if I don't use them, I do get rid of them, but sometimes it can be a problem. So, and geez, let's not even talk about going into the craft store. I mean, I have so many thoughts in my head when I'm in there, I could just go crazy in there. So, what I do with that situation, I just try and tend to avoid those things. So, excuse me. Sorry about that. That was my phone scam call, which is really annoying. And what I've been doing with those, not to get off the subject, but while I'm thinking of it, I just block every call that I don't know who it is. I block it and I delete it, and then I don't have to deal with them because my phone used to be my business number when I had my 3D art gallery where I sold my art and my jewelry. And I don't want to change my number because that's the number everybody has. So that's what I do. And the more I block them, the less calls I do get. So that works out all right. Excuse me. Anyway, getting back to the craft store, as I said, I try to avoid those stores as much as possible because I know that I could blow my whole budget in those stores. And I'm trying very hard not to do that and be mindful of the money I have and the money I spend so that I really don't want to go back to work since I've retired. Anyway, let me get on with some of the things that I think are great and that I save. All right. So, anyway, I do like the dollar store. I can't do too much damage there since everything's a dollar. But I do buy these candles all the time. Now, this one's empty. And what I do is I save these jars. There's a little tiny bit of candle wax in here that I melt down on a coffee warmer. And then I buy wicks at the craft store or whatever. And then I melt these all down and I actually make layers of candles and I have a new candle. So I do that with these. And then another thing I do with these is I put my spices in there. Since I have a garden, I can dry my spices, grind them up and put them in here. I label them and I put them in my little spice cupboard. So this to me is not garbage, but a lot of people throw these things away. This to me is a really great find. So I have that. So my daughter, she buys this orange juice and they come in this container. It's a nice sturdy container. It's got a lid. Now, a lot of people, again, this is junk. Oh, no, 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 this is not junk. This is a watering can to me. So I fill these up, I leave them around my garden, and when I see a plant that needs a little drink, there we go. And also, the good thing about this is you can put your fertilizer right in there and you're ready to go. And to me, this isn't junk. So I have a few of these. Now, I don't want 100 of these, but 5 or 6 of them would be a great amount to have and leave around my garden. So that to me isn't junk. Then my daughter had this. She's got 4 kids, so they eat a lot of snacks. So she came up with this big pretzel thing. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's wonderful. So see, save for mom. I put that on there. Anyway, um, this is a great thing for storing big things of flour or sugar or whatever. A lot of people would put this in the recycle. It's garbage. No, 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 it's not garbage. For me, I use these things. So there you go, creative mind. So moving on, I bought some apple cider. And I actually gave it to my daughter and I told her, don't throw that jar away because it's so pretty. So anyway, I stuck some Dollar Tree flowers in there. I don't know if you can see that pattern on there, but it's got little leaves and things on it. And it's nice because it's got the small neck. It's nice if you have live flowers like a hydrangea or maybe a gladiola, something with a really long stem that you don't want it flopping all over the place. So I had her save this for me, and I'll actually buy the cider again. And I think this also comes in little jars, and it also has the pretty leaf design on it. So garbage, not to me. So anyway, there's that. Then there's plants. Here's my avocado. It's finally starting to get some leaves. And can you see that in there? It's finally starting to come up. So I do that with plants too. Sometimes I save seeds and I make new house plants out of them. So, and coffee cans, let's not forget those. They make great storage containers. You can even spray paint them if you want. But I start plants in those, and you can drill holes on the bottom, and the lid can actually serve as a bottom to catch the water. So garbage, not to me. So anyway, um, then I have this. It's kind of hard to see. Here we go. It's got to go up here. And I have, I cut off the bottom of a celery, and I have some Cleveland crisp lettuce that's starting to grow. It's a real, I don't know if you can get it everywhere, but it's a real crunchy lettuce. It's really a nice lettuce. And then I stuck in 2 bottoms of 2 onions, and I'm going to stick these in a container in my garden in a little while, but I keep these like on my countertop, so that's not garbage either. And if I didn't do this with them, then I would probably stick them in a baggie in the freezer and cook soup with it. So those are some free plants, and these are my little lemon trees. I still have to put them in individual containers. I started these several months ago, and these are ready to be planted in containers and put outside for the summer. And as far as food goes, save that too. Now this in here, I tried grinding up an avocado pit. They say it's very healthy for you to put them in smoothies and top salads with them. It's got a little bit of a woody texture to it. It's hard to describe. A little bit like coconut, but the flavor is a little bitter, and I'm not a big fan of bitter. So I had some banana peels that I dried, and I ground those up. And I'm going to put these around my roses and see if the roses like them. But anyway, I've been doing that with my banana peels. I've been drying them in the dehydrator. When they're dry, I put them in my little blender and make a powder out of them and sprinkle around my roses. So they're doing really well. And coffee grounds, I make my own coffee things because really the K-cups, I do buy them for like when we go to the boat or if I have company, I will use them. But here at home every day I have 2 or 3 cups of coffee. So I make my iced coffee with that. I will make a real strong cup of coffee with it and then put ice in it later and creamer, and it's every bit as good as a Starbucks coffee. But anyway, the coffee grounds, I've been putting those around my acid loving plants, and my azaleas this year are beautiful. They're just absolutely gorgeous. I don't know if it's all the rain or if it's just, the coffee grounds help, because there are a lot of nutrients left in the coffee grounds when you do that. And then here, I made a couple of portobello mushroom caps yesterday. And here I have the mushroom stems and some of the pieces. And I'm going to stick those in a freezer bag, and I save that up, and I make soup out of it when the weather gets a little bit cooler in the fall. So anyway, those are some of the things that I gather, and like I said, a creative mind. Even if I go to the Dollar Tree, nail polish, I love nail polish, and hey, for $1, I can visualize me in the nail polish. Same thing with lipstick. Oh, I think that color would look pretty good on me. So, or but like I said, for $1, I don't buy high-end makeup because I know I personally don't buy high-end clothing. I don't buy high-end makeup um, because I know that I tend to get bored with things. And so, if it was $1 and I'm bored with it, well, you know, so anyway, I just wanted to talk to you a little bit. How many of you guys are like that? I mean, do you look at things that most people see as garbage and keep it? Or do you throw everything away and recycle everything? Um, I'd like to know what you guys do. So um, leave me a comment below. You know where. I love hearing from you guys. If you like this video, please consider subscribing, giving me a like, hitting the notification bell. The liking a video really helps the creators get noticed more on YouTube. So if you could do that for me, I'd appreciate it. And I'll be making more upcoming videos very soon. I've finally finished my garden. I have to do a little bit cleanup on the deck yet. And speaking of that, people that tend to be perfectionists, and I don't consider myself a perfectionist because I do just, quickly do things. But sometimes what can happen is if you visualize everything is perfect, which is what I do. I visualize my house being perfectly clean. I visualize everything being perfectly organized. And sometimes what tends to happen with people that think this way, rather than just doing it, I'm a thinker. I think about things a lot before I do them. But sometimes what happens is it kind of paralyzes you, and you don't know how to get from imperfect to perfect, because really, is there any such thing? And how boring would the world be if everything was perfect? I mean, we'd all be the same, everything would look the same because perfection is perfection. And I don't even really want to strive towards that, but I've noticed that with me, that's what happens. I'll look at something and it's like, I'll never get that the way I want it. So rather than working on it a little bit, I tend to procrastinate doing these things. And I really have to have a good talking to myself and, let's go. And so I always call it eating the elephant. And I have to break things down into tasks and realize that if I don't get to perfection, it doesn't matter, that at least it gets done and over with. And so there you go. Anyway, I wanted to say hello to everybody. I know I haven't been posting as often as I had before. I just kind of needed a little break because I was trying to get my garden done in between the rain. And when I do the garden, the house is a mess. And when, you just can't do it all. It's impossible. Like Money Mom just put up a video and she said you can do anything, but you can't do everything. And she's perfectly right about that. And that's the same as you can have everything, anything, but you can't have everything. So, anyway, look at the trees. Sometimes the forest is too massive and overwhelming. So, just look at the trees or your garden or whatever makes you happy. So here's wishing you a life of abundance. I love you guys, and thanks for watching. See you next time.